Cool. Alright, how exciting. This is the first episode of Tekken Higher. But today we're basically going to be talking about King, and BoxeR is going to be showing us a lot of his go-tos and how-tos and stuff like that. So essentially, YouTube sensation BoxeR, aka Joel, down below,
yeah.
Just down there. How you doing, Joel?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing alright, man.
It's
doing
nice.
alright.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously this is the first one, so it should be exciting. And obviously, hopefully anyone that happens to be watching at the moment is going to get a bit of knowledge about King, and obviously a few minor details, how you should play him. We'll probably analyze some videos and stuff like that. But the main thing that we want to do is actually go through and have a look. So, a couple of the questions that I wanted to basically ask you, John, is as you know,
questions on the spot.
Absolutely, one of the best kings in Australia, mate. One of the best kings in Australia is how exactly did King come around? Is how do you play him, or who should play King specifically? Feel free to jump into the game as well, so we can actually play this.
Well, for those who want to have a feel out on King, it's kind of like there's two sorts of ways that you can kind of decide on playing him. The most obvious choice is that, liking the character aesthetically. I think for a lot of people who play King, or most how people choose their character, how they, how do they look, how do their moves look, what kind of connection do they have with the character versus maybe a tournament player might not think about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then there's also the kind of player that likes very defensive style. If someone has a really good defensive style, they can probably do a lot of damage with King as well. It's pretty easy to transfer over.
Yeah. Okay. So
yeah.
you would say that I guess a defensive play style would probably be best overall.
Yeah,
right?
He's not really an offensive character. You can make him offensive, but to make him offensive requires a lot of mind games.
Yeah.
That that you kind of have to do, because pros got really good throws. The moves are really good for poking. Very fast, 12 frame punish and back 1-2 for whiff punishing. Unseeable chain throws, you have to guess. You can't react to the hands or arms or anything like that.
Yeah, of course.
He has quite a nice crouch dash, wave dash mix up. That's
Yeah.
also pretty nice.
Okay.
It's also what helps him at a high level, really. If his crouch slash chain throws, for example, you could react to which arm was leading first. It would suck a lot, and would kind of make King very difficult to use those sorts of moves. But it keeps the mix-up honest. Cons are pretty straightforward. You know, his frames are not the greatest on block and hit. You know, compare like his down forward 1. You know, it's +3 on hit, and if you do down forward 2, you know, it's just +1. So it seems like Namco's idea of frames and such is to just not give King too much in frames. You know, kind of give the opponent a bit of leeway. They did buff back 1-2 in T7 though, from +3 on hit to +5, which makes that mix up kind of a bit stronger. There's still ways to get out of that depending on range. Lack of strong lows, but the lows aren't really that big of a problem because he has, you know, a generic down 4 does well enough for every character. You know, for a quick poke against a turtle who's like turtling up, you know, you can still get some damage in. There's, you know, down 3, down back 4. Down back 4 is really great because people really react to lows, so it's kind of something that works at a online or someone who's not really that great at just reacting to a block, because it's kind of a really difficult move to see. You kind of have to watch the legs and see them come off.
So what was that? That was down back 4, yeah?
Yeah. So, you know, the way that you look for down back 4, seeing, you know, if you're looking at the limbs, legs, and see is kind of came off the ground sort of thing. Like looking at
so there's a couple of visual cues
like
that can obviously have, right?
Yeah.
So some of those other moves that you oh, game footage is frozen. Give me a sec. Ooh.
Sorry, what was that?
The game footage is frozen. Just give me a moment. Quickly see if I can restart that footage. Sorry, guys. Apologies. How's that? Is that working? Black now, from what I can tell. Technical difficulty.
Right, but King's like really strong. You could play him with like a few good moves, and if you're really good at like Tekken, you could just pick King up and probably learn him in like 5 minutes, do damage. If you're like really great at like playing Tekken, like you have really great movement, you have great sense of awareness of like other characters, like knowing their ranges that they like to be at, how to step certain moves, like so is really what helps you excel at King.
Yeah, so I guess any sort of wrestling character, right, is what you'd be looking at, right? So obviously you control the ring, control the space and movement of the person that you're playing to obviously get somewhere. So unfortunately Tekken 7 doesn't have an online practice mode, so we can't go through it. But some of those moves that you brought up before, so what were the ones that you thought King might be really good with?
So his poking is what you'd consider. Some moves are kind of obvious, some moves kind of aren't so obvious for people. The way that people play King usually is not really a poking oriented sort of way. You know, it depends on the person how they like to play. But you know, if you're looking hard at, you know, King at his core, you know, for his pokes, it's kind of like, you know, you've got 1-2, 1-2, high, you know, pretty fast. King's on block is -1. It's +6 on hit. So, you know, a very common tactic is, you know, 1-2 into throw because of the hit frames, or even on block because it's -1, it's still pretty fast that, you know, you can catch people with that sort of basic strategy.
So if you were to do 1-2 on block, would I be able to interrupt if, I guess you tried to do a giant swing or something like that?
If you did jabs, you would be able to. Anything else would get caught with the giant swing. Okay,
cool. Well, I guess with King here, you mentioned obviously you've got your pokes, your down forward 1, down forward 2. What we might do is demonstrate a little bit of it while we're playing here, and obviously just try to talk over it as we're going through it. And if you can, point out some of the good moves, that'd be really good as well.
Yeah, so following on from that, we've got down forward 1. This is a pretty standard poke for him. 14 frames, -1 usually on block. +3 on hit, and as I mentioned before, the extension down forward 1-2, that's +1 on hit. The great thing about down forward 1 is that it covers both lateral sides pretty well. It's actually really great of a move. If you throw out for down forward, you can usually step one way or maybe both ways. But for kings, it's pretty hard to step. So, a lot of down forward 1 usage really helps lock the opponent down. And down forward 1, hits into a throw is also, the sort of common tactic that a king player might like to do for, catching his opponent off guard. But the next move that I like for this tactic a lot more is down forward 2. Down forward 2.
So what you're saying is down forward 1 and down forward 2 are probably your best sort of moves to lock down an opponent in front of you, so you can then do your strategy of hit or block into a throw.
Yeah, down forward 2 is probably the best one that you'd want to be doing into it because it's pretty fast. It recovers really fast, so on hit it's +3. On block -6, so it's fine. Covers the right side, does not cover the left side, so for a lot of people who think that king's really weak to the right, this is kind of the sort of move that you can use to catch them.
Okay, right, yeah.
So those two moves are pretty good for pressure moves that you can sort of use or for keep out. Next move, forward 3. Now, this move is kind of interesting because it has an adjust frame extension if you hit it, and it nets you a lot of good damage. If I can actually get it.
Let me change to king so I can also do a lot of these moves. Just kill me quickly. So forward 3, you said has adjust frame 1+2, which goes into a
yeah, it goes into
grab.
An ultimate
Guaranteed grab.
throw. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
I revenged. I don't know if that's bad. Did you revenge?
No. I jumped out. So basically, what you're saying is obviously with a defensive playstyle, King is obviously, I guess you could call him the king of the ring in that sense. That he's able to control a lot as long as you know what all you can see what your opponent is going to be doing, right? So if you think your opponent is going to step to the right, you go ahead and I guess do down forward 2. If your opponent is going to step to the left, you do down forward 1. So I mean, I think King is good. He's got a lot of different options available to him, right? To lock people down. But you said that obviously his throws are some of the biggest things, right? So
yeah, so you kind of separate his moves. For the good thing about King is a lot of people don't kind of realize that if you kind of play King to a very core set of moves that are very well, it's actually kind of hard to sort of step King. Because a lot of them kind of have great tracking. It's a lot of the moves that people may use that might not use, but they kind of do, is where people kind of get the idea that King's really bad to the right. And it's true for a lot of his moveset. But, for
you mentioned
yeah,
forward 3, down forward 1, and all of that still weak to his right, but you can counteract that with a few of his other moves like down forward 2 and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I guess with King here, we're obviously just chilling and playing some games. While you're talking, I might demonstrate some of the moves that you're obviously talking about. I might do some random stuff as well. But if there's anything that you might want to mention as well on top of I guess the moves that you're talking about. So your throws, your giant swing, his mix-up throws is the main thing, right? So you've got giant swing, you have the Tijuana Twister, I think it's called, Shining Wizard and stuff. So he's got a lot of different throws, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, well, I mean, look, with that, how about we play a couple of rounds, King versus King. You show me how you would play King, and I'll play King how I normally play King, and we'll see what the differences are. And we might actually have a look at some high-level King play as well a little bit later. How's that sound?
How do you play King?
Cheesy.
Like this?
Yeah. So what do you say his worst moves are?
Sorry, you cut out for me there.
What would you say his worst moves are? Like moves that you would never use.
His worst moves.
I mean, Tekken is a pretty balanced game, so.
I don't think I've really thought of that, but I guess moves that I wouldn't consider. Up back one.
What's up back one? Oh wow.
Yeah, it's a high homing. Sidesteps a bit to the left. I wouldn't really use this because it's slower than forward 4. Forward 4.
Okay, so that move that we just
it's about
we both did.
It's about like 21 frames, while 17 frames.
Okay, cool. Well, let's
For I've got this kind of other moves that should be sort of mentioned. So yep, forward 4. You know, that's like your standard homing move.
Yep.
Really great. That down 4. You know, generic low. Might not be the best kind of low that you'd ever use, but it's fast and stable, good poking, and then crouch dash 4. You know, it's basically
that's the same as while standing 4, yeah?
Yeah. Okay. So it's a really nice thing that, you know, you can use in neutral. It's what you can crouch dash makes honest. Because, you know, you never know if people think you might be doing a throw and they duck, you know, that's how you can sort of catch them. Or
right, so you prevent people from ducking. So basically, your game plan for King, if you're going on a defense, is stop people from ducking by doing while standing 4, doing a couple of mids, stopping them from moving by doing down forward 1, down forward 2, and ultimately just trying to keep them within range 1 so you can throw them. Yeah. If you're trying to create defense.
If you know that they're not very great at breaking, then that sort of game plan is definitely what you'd aim for.
Yeah.
If your opponent is quite good at breaking, you know, you have to adapting to that sort of player who is able to break throws. There's also like his counter hit moves, so you know we've got back 1, we got traded there. Yeah, like back one, 12 frame counter hit.
Counter hit launch, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what other moves?
Forward, forward neutral 1+2.
Forward neutral 1+2. Oops, not that one? That.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that.
Actually, hold up.
This is,
Yeah?
What are you trying?
No. I'm trying to wave dash. I don't know how to wave dash with you.
You gotta wave dash like this.
That was really good. Okay. Alright, moving on. Moving on from our attempts at wave dashing. So you've got a lot of different moves. Like you sent me a list of a guide, I guess, of the moves. You've got your punishment, you got your crouching moves, and stuff like that. You mentioned that on an offense you do a lot of forward neutral 1+2, and it's forward 1+4. This chest bump, right?
It's pretty much the only plus frame on block move that King really has. So you can kind of use that as like a 50-50 throw, or go into a mid.
Okay.
Because it keeps the opponent locked there. You know, they don't really have a choice to do anything but make a choice. You know, if they stand guard, then hopefully they're not very good at throw breaking. If they crouch, then it kind of tells you that they can't really break throws, and they're crouching as their, you know, defensive choice. Which, you know, if you do it again, maybe you might be able to like hop kick them out of it. You know, when they do it.
So that's once again. You're sort of trying to find out if they can break throws. If they can't break throws, throw them a lot. And I guess if they can break throws, try to get them to duck so you can get a little bit of poke damage in every now and again, right?
Yeah, more or less. That's kind of the sort of game plan you'd probably have versus someone who struggles a bit with throw breaking.
Yeah. Okay.
Especially is what you will find with players online that if you're not sitting at the top level of your like region, you're going to find a lot of that in the lower ranks, for sure.
Alright. Is there a difference between online and offline play?
I couldn't hear what you said after online.
Is there a difference in the way that you would play if you were doing online and offline? I should really let you win that.
Yes. Realistically, you're going to play different. Online, you kind of have mass.
Sorry, man, you're cutting out at the moment. Give me a sec.
Oh, I'm cutting out?
Yeah. I don't think there's any way that I can actually change that, but you know, we'll work what we have. I forgot to rematch, by the way. But yeah, so online versus offline play. Online, would you like prefer to do a lot more? I guess what frozen stuff because of lag and things. Like, is that the best way to play King online?
Yeah, online there's for every character, you know, every character is gonna have things that they might be able to get away with a bit more online.
Yeah.
But King definitely, you know, for him it's his throws, so that's where, you know, you have to kind of be aware of the player that you're facing and maybe the delay that you might be dealing with. If the delay is not so bad, then, you know, you might not have to think about it so much. If the delay is kind of a little wonky, you know, blocking some lows sort of thing where it gets really difficult.
Yeah, nobody likes playing on a three bar against King.
Yeah, but, that sort of thing is where you'd have to sort of deal with that.
Okay. Well, I mean, that seems like a pretty basic analysis of King at the moment, right? So you've got a way to lock people down. You've got a way to essentially create an offense, and defensive. I guess it's all about whiff it, like causing the opponent to whiff, and you know, it's very basic Tekken, right?
Yeah, like King at his core is basically playing Tekken. Anything more is, you know, playing King. If a person playing King is really great at playing Tekken, then they're going to be really great at playing King. A player who plays King but is not so good at Tekken is probably going to be relying on things that someone who's really great at Tekken won't have to rely on, because even if they may use the certain setups, let's say on the same sort of player, but you know, if they play a player where they can kind of deal with those sorts of things, the one who's, you know, better at Tekken is going to adapt to that sort of play and be like, okay, this doesn't work. No,
my game froze. Hold on. I was wondering why it wasn't doing anything. Happening? I don't know. My game froze. It says the Unreal. Oh my god. Yeah. So while we're here, I guess we'll take it in and we'll watch some good Kings. How am I gonna quit this thing? Here we go. We'll watch some good Kings. I guess play some high level Tekken for now, because I don't know what's going on with my computer, but it's struggling. It's honestly struggling. Should probably upgrade this thing. But let's have a look at a couple. Ooh, what happened?
You alright there?
Yes. Everything is breaking. Everything is breaking. There we go. Cool. So
breaking after like 2 hours of fineness.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. We were looking pretty good for a while, but obviously it's not going so good. But what we'll do is I'll jump this thing on for you. So we're gonna watch some high level King here. So you gave me these videos here as like I guess a way to help us sort of determine what was going on and how to play King. Who is this King? Who is this King?
So this King is Hakayo. He is one of the greatest King players in the game. He's the best King player out of Japan. He was also the first Japanese player to hit Emperor, which was in this DM versus Kaure. And yeah, this was like an event they had happen around, I think it was around this time last year. Yeah, so it's been a year since this happened.
Okay.
The only important things to note about this DM in particular, because it was on arcade for console game out, none of the, you know, if a person is not so used to Tekken 7 on arcade, you know, for Kazumi, you know, her RSS, you know, the fly stance, the 4-2 was not natural. So,
yeah,
you know, watching these sorts of videos, only seeing like the sweep but not finishing it, you know, that's why, because
okay,
it wasn't.
Okay. So you said that he's quite an I guess offensive King, would you say?
Yeah, he has a mix of a defensive and offensive style. He definitely uses a lot of different moves. That's typically the Japanese style, where they use a lot of different moves versus Korean players, where, you know, a Korean player might just play really effective with 5 moves that, you know, great high, mid, slows, that sort of thing.
Okay, so comment on the video. What is this king doing? So let's watch this match for a little bit. We'll just make some comments as you go along, because I don't know too much about King. So pretend that I know nothing, because I pretty much don't know anything, which is the reason why I'm trying to help people learn in this sense as well, because I want to learn how to play Tekken better.
Yeah. So.
Do you think this is a good video to demonstrate, or do you think the other video?
Yeah, definitely. I think this video, if you have more time to watch it, you'll have a nice understanding. The other video, since it's a tournament match, it helps, and I think it emphasizes a lot more because it's having a really great player versus a player who's not on the same level, and you can kind of see the skill difference compared to a death match for like the first Tekken Emperor in Japan.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So this match that we're looking at is the Tekken World Tour from what, this year? Combo Break.
Yeah. This was just
so this was only a couple of weeks ago. All right. Joel's gone. Anyway, we're gonna watch some King for a little bit. While Joel is doing his thing, there he is, he's back. Does anyone have any questions for Joel at the moment in terms of, I guess, what he wants to do, or if as the King expert, I guess the King of Kings here, is there anything that you guys would want to ask Joel? Feel free to post it in the chat, and we'll obviously get to them as soon as possible. But for now, Joel, can you? Oh man, I skip this part.
Yeah, we don't need to see non-interesting footage.
Alright, cool. So this is Rox Dragon Knee playing against LJR, T-Cole LJR from the US. Everyone knows Knee, so obviously he's quite high up there. But with the LJR Katarina, what do you think? What do you think Katarina should be doing in this particular match to try and beat out King?
Probably the most important thing is have the awareness of, since Katarina has a lot of kicks, it's possible that you might have King doing a reversal, let's say like doing 4-4-4. Yeah. After the first 4, that can be reversal, so it makes that sort of pressure redundant. The matchup's definitely a lot about patience. You'll see that Knee's playing very patient and defensive, trying to learn his opponent. Definitely, has some moments like that where it catches him, but there's definitely a big difference in skill level that you see that while Knee's playing not so offensive like the Katarina is.
There you go. I see as you said before, the forward neutral 1+2 sort of things to create a neutral of some sort, add pressure to it, right?
Yeah, so he's, trying to, when you're playing like the sort of style that he plays, he's, as he's, moving around and getting used to seeing his opponent, it's downloading, what is the best way to attack, Let's say the Katarina wants to attack, sort of times where it's kind of getting a bit predictable. That's when you can start bringing out like the counter hit moves, which you'll see Knee really likes to do a lot.
Okay.
And then, see that the Katarina will try, do like a risk-based offense and then gets punished for it. And, since this character really suits the way that Knee likes to play, you will see be really effective with King in a very basic sense. Yeah. So you don't need a lot of tech to do very well with King. If you're, your core of playing Tekken is really great, you can make the character work really.
Well, I know that you're one for tech. You did post that video a little bit earlier on your YouTube channel with the forward 1 ground tech. But obviously in this sense, you can see a lot that Knee is essentially just staying back from his opponent and just like outspacing him, then capitalizing on the opponent trying to, I guess, create an opening at this point, right?
Yeah, he's playing very basic, but basic does not mean bad. He's playing very effective.
Okay.
Like very, very. And you'll see, even if Knee is at a deficit, he's able to come back, and while he's trying to make comebacks, he's not relying on it. He's playing true to himself and playing true
so he just plays
winning
Tekken.
Tekken.
Yeah, okay. So King obviously one of the best in the world, if not the best in the world, obviously. Definitely one of those things which his Tekken skill level is a lot higher than everyone else's, but I think you're not wrong when it comes to him being able to use his regular Tekken skills to outplay his opponents. For us plebs that are not in the highest level of Tekken, including yourself, Blind Duality. Blind Duality asks, we should go through some of the common things King players want to do and how to combat it. Also how King can cover his weaknesses. So, I mean, previously, when we went through the weaknesses of his sidestep right, you would say that sidestep right is probably the weakest side of King, right?
Yeah, it's the weakest side, but I still believe that
as you can see, the sidestep and that Katarina
is quite difficult versus a very good selection of pokes.
Right. So all about
there's only a few
that
can really catch you, but if you got caught by those moves, then maybe your choice and decision making of using those maybe was not so great as well.
Okay. So what you're saying is essentially if you are going through and I guess finding somebody as a King player, if you were finding somebody that was sidestepping to your right continuously, right, as their offense, because they know that King is a lot weaker to the right, you would use moves like as we discussed before, the down forward 2. What other moves cover King's right side?
So you got down forward 1. Those 2 are probably going to be the best moves to use because they're going to hit them. They can really be doing like sidestep guard.
Okay. So down forward 2, down forward 1, yeah?
Yeah, so let's say someone does like 1-2 sidestep right. If you immediately down forward 2 or down forward 1, it's going to catch them.
Yep.
And now
same
you
with forward 4 as well, right? Forward 4 being the homing move that
forward
King has.
4, if they sidestep guard, they will probably be able to guard in time.
Yeah.
So doing down forward 2 would probably be the best choice because it's a very fast move. It recovers very fast, and you might be able to catch them off throw afterwards.
Okay. Yep. Cool. Okay. So is that the only weakness the King has? Sidestep right?
As I said before, his weakness, not his lows aren't the best.
Yep.
He doesn't have like these really very powerful lows, but he has a low with down back 3. It's not that great on hit, but even at a very very high level where players can react to it, there's always going to be times where everyone's human, no one's a robot. If you read like a really great timing on your opponent, you might be able to get it off. This is something I'm not sure for many King players would do, but I remember watching like since some of the moves like Armor King, JDCR would definitely use down back 3 with Armor King at some points as well. So it's not a move that at a very high level you're not going to see, but you'll definitely see depending on how the player wants to apply it.
Okay,
so
of course.
For me as well, if I would use down back 3, I would probably I wouldn't use it as a poke, I would use it more as, okay, I think I've downloaded your timing, I'm going to use it where I feel it's going to counter hit, and I'm going to make you be punished heavily for your predictability.
Okay, yeah, so you use down back 3 as a counter hit tool. You would say that a lot of King's tools allow that as well. So back 1, down back 3, and stuff like that as well. Okay, cool. So I guess what I've learned so far, I guess I think what your intention was to go through a basic rundown of how King could be played effectively in this sense. So essentially, consider playing more defensive in comparison to offensive because your frames aren't good. When people start sidestepping you, you would use moves like sidestep right. Sorry, not sidestep right, but if somebody was to sidestep to your right, you would try and beat them out with a couple of pokes, down forward 1, down forward 2. Forward 4 if they're sidewalking and stuff like that, right? And then the best part about King, obviously, the throws, and obviously there are some tech, but his throws are obviously one of his biggest strengths. So, so I guess King is one of those characters. I guess it comes down to obviously having a good timing. with. So making sure that somebody is expecting to break a throw, you mix up your timing so they think that the throw's coming out, it doesn't come out, they get caught off guard because they're about to press a button, and then obviously you throw them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Even
cool.
at a very high level, you know, a Neo JDCR level, stuff like Giant Swing is still gonna work. There's a weird, I wouldn't say rumor, but, you know, for a lot of people, they have this weird perception that throws are, like, dead at a very high level, but no, they can still work. You know, a Giant Swing is still gonna come off if you know, you do it.
Okay, yeah.
You know, if you catch someone off guard, something's always gonna work.
Yeah, okay.
So that, you know, using throws is a completely dead tactic. And plus, you know, let's say you might pressure a player with Shining Wizard, even if they're breaking it a lot, you know, maybe that that one time out of the 5 times you did it, you eventually
get
got
some damage,
free
right?
damage for it. Yeah, exactly. So it wasn't for nothing. You know, even if they're throwing it, you know, you could still get something out of it because they have to still break it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, when you're using throws as well, you can see, was it Hakayo? He's obviously using Giant Swing and stuff like that every now and again to sort of either control the space or try and run down some time as well. As time goes down, these throws take a moment to break. Some of these ones have longer animations, like you've got the Giant Swing, which causes them to fall down, roll back, resets the neutral. You've got the Tier 1 Twister and stuff, which immediate break, but it also resets the neutral and stuff like that, right? So I guess when it comes down to it, the main thing is remember that as king, you can't negate the use of throws even if you are at a high level. Even if somebody breaks them, you should be still using them at all times, right?
Yeah, even if someone's breaking them, they're still great for pressure.
Yeah, okay,
So
cool.
even if you can't have the mindset that something is not going to work because you're suddenly you know, at this level it's not going to work, at this level it's work. You know, it's not like a low launching sweep like a Snake Edge or, you know, Katarina down back, all that stuff. You know,
Something
it's
that you can
nothing
react
like
to,
that.
right?
Yeah, because you've got the time. You know, a Giant Swing is very fast, very fast. So
It's one of the
it keeps
special
your
throws,
opponents
right?
on
It's a 10 frame throw.
Yeah, it's a 10 frame throw, and usually Shining Wizard's also 10 frame, and most other throws are about 12 frames. So, you know, they're very fast.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's really cool. So obviously, King being one of those people that is very throw heavy, it's a good tactic to have. I think overall, what's probably good is obviously watching some of these people play these kings. You mentioned obviously seeing a lot of this down forward 1 to come back at the end of that round there. You've got forward 4 to catch any sort of homing, 1-2s to control time. That was a down back 2, right? The overhead elbow. Catches people when they're
down back
ducking.
2 is a safe launcher. Yep.
Yeah. So also it's one of those things. As you said, I guess the main play style for King is to prevent him from, I guess, having somebody duck and miss the throw. So what you do is you do a mid to stop them from doing that, right?
Yeah, your even if maybe your goal is to not condition someone with mids to set up a throw, you have to consider your opponent might be thinking that. So you don't want to fall into a trap of where you're thinking a certain way and then you do something and it doesn't work and think like, why did my opponent do that? That made no sense.
Yeah.
Which kind of means that you're not really following along with how your opponent is reacting to you as well. Like, you know, you have to consider the different things that could be going on, or what you're wanting to do and what your opponent is thinking about you as well.
Okay.
So that's definitely a trap that you can't fall into, because, you know, it's a trap that I used to kind of fall into at one point where even if I'm not throwing a lot, and then eventually I might do like some poke and then throw and then the crouch, and I'll be like, why did they crouch? I've not even been throwing that much. You know, you can't fall into that trap.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, obviously your opponent can do anything at any given time, right? So it's not exactly.
So
like...
you have to be really considerate of what you're might also be thinking as well with the way that you're playing.
Yeah. So I mean, if you duck, obviously don't necessarily consider conditioning them, but utilize your mids to, I guess, not make them fear ducking randomly. use hop kicks, use down forward 2, down forward 1 to essentially go, cool, I'm getting free damage and I'm causing you to obviously lose a lot of that game by having the ducks as well. Nice. So we just watch Kyle getting
it's very
promoted.
similar to like, other characters who are maybe wanting to keep people standing and not randomly crouching, and then do a sweep combo on them.
Okay.
Sort of similar like that.
Cool. Well, look, what we'll do, seeing as obviously you've given us a lot of information about King, we've been watching a couple of videos. What we might do is I might actually no, I'm not going to jump into Tekken because I have no idea if my computer is going to be able to handle it. What we'll do is obviously, I guess we might wrap it up there in terms of the King special. But if there's any questions about, I guess, if we haven't covered anything, or if you feel that obviously there's something that we missed during this King special that we have currently, is there something you guys would like us to discuss? In that sense, I might actually still try and load up Tekken. Maybe it'll work. Who knows? We'll find out.
mean, even not for this, like, if anyone wants to contact me anything about King, I can really say anything about King. Like, I know everything from like the basics to any specific tech you might want to know, you know.
Is there a resource that obviously the people online can review for, I guess, the King specials, anything specific to King? If people want to pick up King as a character, because they feel like, as you said, if you have a lot of fun with somebody that creates mind games through throws, or likes having that advantage, or feels like playing defensively and being able to do that, is there somewhere where I guess the people online can go and have a look at to find out what they should do? If there's good resources, do you know of any good players or anything like that might be around? Or
resource wise, I would probably my YouTube channel. It's pretty much the doing the YouTube stuff anyway, because when I was learning, there wasn't really any good resources for learning King. Everything I learned about King, I more or less learned through experience of my own doing, not through learning from anyone else.
Right.
For players, I guess if you wanted to, Hakayo Ni's King is really great. Puma, Polton, T-Virus.
All Southeast Asian players, or
the last 4 I named were Korean.
Okay.
Japan also. Hippo. There's also a name that's escaping me. I feel so bad. There's also a name that there's also another Japanese King that's
there's a lot of different Kings available, right?
I'm gonna quickly find it.
All right.
As I go through something where I know I can find the name. Any changes that you want to King? What would they be? It's kind of hard to say. I'm not really dissatisfied with King as a character. I think in T7 he is like fantastic of a character. Changes I'd really like to see. It's hard because the changes that I'd like to have kind of like breaks King in a way. Like if I say give King more frames on like his down forward 1 or something, it kind of breaks King as a character. Then it might lead him into being like really one-dimensional, being like a 50-50 throw character or something. That's hard to say. Changes to King, I'd say just bring armor back so you have 2 different styles. Like
bring in Armor King back. What a good option.
Because both characters, they share some moves, but the properties and all that are very different.
Mentioned what are the similarities? You got down 3 and stuff like that. Down back 4.
Right, I got the name. The other name for the Japanese I was struck on. Punch Rush King. Punch Rush. He's a really great King player. Really great.
Did you get that invite, by the way?
Invite? Oh, I guess so. Yeah.
Nice. Let's play some Tekken. While we're
Yeah,
here.
so Armor King, you know, they share kind of the sort of same moves, like the jabs, the crouch dash 4, down back 3, the crouch dash wave dash mix up is more or less the same. Like the core of the characters are similar, but what branches them out to be different is, you know, where you find their uniqueness.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. I think overall, in terms of the changes to King, like Tekken is a pretty balanced game, so it does make it pretty difficult to say, look, what would you change about King to make him better? Like, would you say obviously one move should track better or something like that? But once you do that, it loses that balance. Like as you mentioned before, they've made King quite balanced.
Really great in this game. I think King is, you know, when I think about the previous games and then think about this game, I think King, you know, he's definitely the best he's ever been. I think it's really difficult to say what kind of changes you'd make to him at this point, because he's had so much changed in this game already that, you know, has given him so much difference. Yeah. Even compared to Armor King, if Armor King were back, both characters would look a lot different than they've probably been as well.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, obviously with the new changes and everything like that, like obviously the
you know, like forward 1 became an incredibly useful move in this game now. Incredibly useful. You know, -5 on block, homing, counter hit, launch. Like, that's amazing. That's a really great move.
Yeah, it essentially
forward neutral 1+2 became so much greater, not because any changes to the move specifically, but because King got forward 2-1. You know, like,
okay,
these sorts of changes made King like really, really great. I'm really happy with the character. I really don't know see changed. I don't think there's anything to really be changed with him. I think he's in a really good spot in this game.
I think I guess if you look at it that way, if you were to make any sort of changes, it would create imbalance, right? It'd prevent him from being able to be defeated if you did give him a better home move that was faster or gave him. He'd essentially be Devil Jin, right?
I think what I'm saying kind of proves the point of why you can't really make much changes at this point to King, because, you know, in FR, the initial version of FR, they gave King a while running 3, and this while running 3 was really good at release because it tracked pretty well. And then they eventually nerfed it. The tracking became not so great, and it was dead. The move became dead in about the space of like 2 months or 1 month. You know, this new move they gave him, spent all this time, you know, like making for him, and then, you know, dead, because the tracking and such made it really useless. If they didn't, then, you know, it would be a really good like get-in move for King, because, you know, it's a running move.
Yeah. Wow, this entire setup that I've currently got going is like lagging so bad. Oh
yeah, definitely. Eli makes a really good point that since forward 1, you know, it's not as fast as Claudio as well running 2, or like Dragunov as well running 2. You know, being around like 22 frames, the slowness of the move people off. So if you're using forward neutral 1+2s, and then you start using like forward 1s, it really throws people off, definitely. And since it's a homing, you can't really get out of it either.
Yeah, true. I guess let's play some King. We'll find out whose King is better. Well,
King mirrors are so weird for me.
Is it because you don't get many? Oh damn! Don't get many King mirrors. Why do you think that is? Is King a widely played character?
No, it's because
you gotta make up questions on the spot.
It's because, as I mentioned, like the character, you know, at best he becomes like defensively oriented sort of play style.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when you get 2 players playing that sort of way, it's very strange. And then when you get 2 Kings who are not like that, you know, they're very offensively oriented. It's like 2 people trying to throw each other as much as they can.
Right. I guess that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it does make it I guess, fall into a particular category of gaming, right? Like when it comes to Tekken.
he's a really
Tekken's all about
unique
like adjusting to your opponent, right? But if your opponents are doing the same thing that you're doing, guess it makes it hard for you to. Oh, man, your king is obviously better than mine.
Yeah, while running 3 was a really great move.
That's
really
while running
upset
3,
that he
right?
Yeah. But it's 0 on block and it's very...
It's 0 on block and you can sidewalk it. Nice,
Yeah,
okay.
They nerfed the move to uselessness.
Would you say completely?
they
Oh
were-
man, completely
Yeah,
useless.
they completely killed the move.
What would you
in
do
the
to make it better
space
then?
of a month or 2.
What would you do to make it better?
Not have nerfed it at all.
Okay.
I think they got. I think
Impossible.
Namco got really concerned that King players were using it to get in, then use like the few plus frames it had to just do throws and stuff.
Right. Okay.
Like Namco does not want King to have frames at all. And you know, it's if you look at his moves, it's very, very clear that Namco does not want to give King frames. So if you have frame, what do you need to win with that sort of like move set? Tekken. Playing really good Tekken, then you don't need frames at all. You know?
Yeah. No, that's fair. It's
Great
obviously one of those
movement,
things.
great awareness of your opponent's character, knowing when to step, punish, and all that, you know. Then you don't need to think about frames so much. There's a lot of people who might care a bit too much about frames depending on the character they play. Like, you know, some people, if you do like a move that's like -1, maybe they'll retaliate with a 1-2. You know, that sort of player. Yeah.
Okay. Well, how about we do a first to 5 or a first to 3? Let's pretend we're in grand finals. First to 3.
Grand finals.
Yeah, grand finals.
Grand.
King Mirror Grand Finals. Let me change this to. Oh my goodness. Let's swap this around. I think my game just crashed again. I don't even think I can. Oh wait, maybe it didn't. Oh my goodness. I
think it's something that gets not really appreciated so much when FR came out, when Namco started adding like the counter hit properties of some moves. So like King's down back 4, now that it counter hits, and you could get like a free ground throw, right? You know, some characters got like them that sort of property on some of their moves, and you know, when you look at down back 4,
yeah,
this low was okay-ish. Now that it has that counter hit property, it makes it a lot nicer to use. Like it's more rewarding to use. If you use that and get a counter hit out, you know, that's so great because now you get the mix of 33 extra damage afterwards.
Not wrong.
So
not wrong.
that might be as far as King's low game getting buffed. I think that's as far as they'll probably ever have a strong low for King, really. I don't think they'd want to go any further.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Maybe new throws. Actually,
new
if I want to
throws?
see anything new, I think I'll be curious to see if Namco could ever come up with like new throws for King. I think.
Oh my god! So this computer.
I'm not sure if there has been a throw given to King since T6. I might be wrong.
What was the newest one?
I think that the newest ever one they ever gave him was the Tijuana Twister. I think. I really don't remember.
Uh-oh. I think my game crashed. No, it's still going. It's still going. All right, let's try that again. Let's try that again. Man, this is going mint. It's going exactly the way that I expected it to. But no, you've given heaps of information on King at the moment. I really appreciate obviously trying to help me.
I think also, I think the most important thing that I should probably also say is like when you look at me, I've been playing Tekken since 7.0 arcade, the newest of the new when it comes to Tekken. So I've been playing for like what, like around 2 years now.
Yeah.
if when you think of that sort of experience, 2 years in terms of Tekken is not very much. So there's a lot of information that I don't know, that I still have to gather, especially so it's the style that I like to play with King cannot be as great because of there might be information that I haven't yet acquired, but in future, I'll eventually learn it. I think that's something to keep in mind with the way that you like to play as well, whether you like to play offensively or defensively. I think if you play offensively, you don't have that sort of thing. People who play Nina don't have to worry about that sort of thing too much, because their game plan is pressure. But for me, if I play against a character that I'm not too familiar with, not really sure where I'm supposed to be stepping certain moves, then it's very easy that I might not do so well.
God, my computer is struggling so bad.
Computer.
You're not wrong. I do need a new one. I've got my laptop, but we'll see what happens. Oh my god. What screen are you currently at the moment?
Loading.
Loading? Because mine says get ready for the next battle, and it's struggling to get past it. I think. Oh my god. Heck yeah. Okay, maybe it's gonna work. Maybe it's gonna work. I don't know. But let's do a first of 3. We'll just rematch each time. Because it's faster. We've got Jungle Outpost as the thing, and I'll see if I've learned anything. That's the main thing, because obviously I'm trying to learn.
If this loads.
If it loads. If it doesn't, we might call it.
If it doesn't, well, I guess we can just call it there.
Yeah, that's
if anyone needs any other King information,
hit up Joel. Hit up Joel. I 100% agree. Hit up Joel if you need any sort of information on King. You've spent countless hours, playing King, right? You've spent hours and hours on top of just versing people, but you've also gone through and I guess you've also learned through the practice modes. So you've labbed him for hours on top of obviously the games that you've been playing as well.
He's my character, so I spend that time trying to be very informative on him. Yeah,
no, it's really good. I've obviously watched some of your videos that you've posted. The one that you posted the other night, which was down forward 2-1 counter hit into down 2+3, right? Which is the elbow drop. You then get a free forward 1+1, right? Unless the opponent stays down.
Yeah, it's an interesting sort of tech that you have to play around with in your policies. But yeah, I guess if that didn't work.
Yeah, fair enough. I think obviously this being the first Tekken 8 hire, it's one of those things which I guess we're going to work on throughout the entire thing. But hopefully I'll have more people. Hopefully we'll have better connections.
Get Alchemist on.
I mean, Alchemist would be great to have on this particular show, but it's definitely one of those things where I think it comes down to what people need to learn, or what people want to learn. So I'm thinking of obviously in the future doing a few things. Hopefully you guys will tune into the next ones where I'll be discussing things like movement, timing, mixing up timing and stuff like that. So more so the mental game of Tekken rather than specific characters. But every now and again, we'll obviously focus on characters if you guys want specific people to be covered as well. I'll go through and try and help or I guess determine the best people. Otherwise, we're just going to play some Tekken here as well. We might analyze and review some different games. So for now, if this loads, holy balls, this is taking forever. If it does load, great. If it doesn't, we'll call it a night. But I appreciate everyone. Oh my god, this is still going. Computer is struggling so hard. It's been on. Yours is still loading, right?
No, it went back to the lobby, so I quit the game.
Oh. Okay, cool. So my Tekken is definitely frozen. Anyway, so we'll call it a night there. I'm probably going to keep streaming, but I probably will stop Tekken for now. Because obviously it's struggling. I don't even know if I'll stream. Ooh, Blind Duality wants Rec to explain Feng. Fing? Fing. Fingwee. Fingwee. Which would be pretty good. Yeah, I think my Tekken is done for this evening. So I appreciate everyone tuning to watch this. I might either continue streaming, or I might even just play some other games. But I don't think my Tekken is working. So I apologize for the mint stream. So yeah. That being said, thanks very much, Joel. I appreciate you coming obviously onto Tekken and High. The first one, in fact, the first one that I've ever decided to do, and hopefully will improve over time. But for now, we'll communication error.
I'm gonna slip this for anyone cares.
Sorry, what?
Cares? I left a Google Doc in the chat.
Ooh, nice, excellent. Okay, so that's the Google document that you shared with me, right?
But yeah, I need to be going. So thank you everyone for watching this.
Yeah,
and,
cheers. Thank you very much, Joel. I appreciate you having on the stream, and hopefully we'll have more to come in the near future. But everyone, thank you very much, and hope you all have a good night. I apologize for the computer, but you know, it is what it is. Technology is great. So peace out for now, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Hopefully, you know, as time goes on. Peace out.